The glitch. Look, look, look. Maya shrieked, shoving the sleek obsidian rectangle towards the camera. It's finally here. The Zenith Z9. Titanium alloy chassis, holographic display, and the camera. Don't even get me started. Across the flickering screen, Chloe's face was a pixelated grin. Whoa, Maya. That thing looks intense. Did you sell a kidney for it? Maya laughed, a bright, genuine sound. Almost. But totally worth it. Check this out. She swiped a finger across the screen, navigating to the camera app. The augmented reality features are insane. I can project entire landscapes onto my bedroom wall. Imagine the possibilities for my photography. She angled the phone, trying to capture the subtle shimmer of the titanium. Chloe's image wobbled slightly. Lagging a bit, huh? Nah, probably just the Wi-Fi. Hold on. Maya bounced from her bed and marched towards the window, phone extended. Better? A little, Chloe replied, her voice tinny. So show me this magical camera already. Maya grinned, aiming the lens at her reflection in the window. Prepare to be amazed. She tapped the screen, activating the glamour filter. Her skin smoothed, her eyes widened, and a subtle blush appeared on her cheeks. Then, the screen went haywire. Instead of flawless beauty, Maya's reflection fractured into a kaleidoscope of distorted colors. Jagged lines crisscrossed her face, and her eyes turned a disconcerting shade of crimson. The phone emitted a high-pitched whine that made Maya wince. Chloe gasped. Maya. What the? Her own image on the screen started to pixelate and break apart, replaced by swirling static. Panic seized Maya. She jabbed at the screen, trying to close the camera app, but the phone was unresponsive. The distorted image of her face, now even more grotesque, remained frozen on the display. The whining intensified, morphing into a grating electronic screech. It's glitching. Maya stammered, her voice trembling. I don't know what's happening. The phone vibrated violently in her hand, hot to the touch. A string of nonsensical characters flashed across the screen. $$ hashtag at / error. Kernel panic / system failure / reboot required. Chloe's fragmented voice cut through the digital chaos. Maya, I think I should. Mortification washed over Maya. This was a disaster. She'd been so eager to show off her fancy new phone, and now it was turning into a technological nightmare right in front of her best friend. She couldn't bear to let Chloe see any more of this embarrassing spectacle. Chloe, I gotta go. Maya blurted out, her face burning. Without waiting for a reply, she stabbed at the power button, finally managing to force the phone to shut down. The screen went black, but the echoing screech still rang in her ears. She dropped the phone onto her bed as if it were a venomous snake. It lay there silent and inert, a sleek, expensive brick. Maya sank onto the floor, her heart pounding. What had just happened? And what was Chloe thinking? She picked up the phone, and saw she had 3 missed calls. All from Chloe. Maya hesitated, then sent a text, "Call you later." Phone problems. Uncle Frank to the rescue. Maya exhaled, the sound a drawn-out sigh that ruffled the stray hairs tickling her forehead. Her phone lay on the kitchen table, a sleek, obsidian rectangle mocking her. The screen remained stubbornly dark, refusing to acknowledge her increasingly frantic attempts to revive it. She needed it. Tonight was the online launch of her new digital art collection, and she desperately needed to be connected. She glanced at her Uncle Frank, who was meticulously peeling an orange, each segment separated with the precision of a surgeon. He was humming some tuneless melody, oblivious to her internal crisis. Frank. Sweet, well-meaning Frank, who still used a flip phone and referred to the internet as the web thingy. Asking him for help felt akin to consulting a blacksmith about a jet engine. Trouble, Maya, he asked, his voice thick with the New York accent he'd never quite managed to shed, even after 20 years in California. A tiny squirt of orange juice landed on the table. He dabbed it with a napkin. "Just phone problems," she mumbled, avoiding eye contact. Frank placed the last orange segment on his plate. "Let me take a look." Maya stared. You want to look at my phone?" He chuckled, a warm, rumbling sound. "Don't look so surprised. I'm not completely technologically inept, you know. I helped your grandpa fix his VCR back in the day. And I've seen you kids glued to these things. Maybe I picked up something through osmosis." He pushed his chair back and stood, his tall, slightly stooped frame looming over the table. Maya hesitated. Her phone held everything: her contacts, her artwork, her private thoughts, a whole universe she carefully curated. Handing it over to Frank felt like surrendering a piece of herself. "It's probably just the battery," she said, stalling. "I'll try charging it again." "Humor me," Frank said, a twinkle in his eye. He held out his hand, palm up. Maya chewed on her lip. What choice did she have? Swallowing her pride and her apprehension, she picked up the phone and placed it in his hand. The cool, smooth glass felt alien against his calloused palm. He turned it over, his brow furrowed in concentration, his thick fingers surprisingly gentle as they explored the edges. He pressed the power button, then held it down for a long moment. "Nothing." He said, his voice thoughtful. "Looks like it's really dead." He looked up at Maya, his expression unreadable. "Tell you what, let's try something." Unexpected interest. "Let me see that thing," Frank said, reaching for Maya's phone with an eagerness she hadn't anticipated. He usually treated her gadgets with a mix of suspicion and mild disdain, preferring his landline and a newspaper to anything digital. She hesitated for only a fraction of a second before handing it over. He turned the phone over in his large, calloused hands, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's heavier than I thought," he commented, a surprising observation considering its slim profile. Instead of just staring blankly as she expected, Frank started tapping the screen. He swiped through her open apps with surprising dexterity, his thumb surprisingly nimble. Maya watched, a knot forming in her stomach. This wasn't the Frank who struggled to program the TV remote. "So you said the battery drains fast?" he asked, not looking up. He was already deep in the settings menu, scrolling through lists and submenus with an almost unsettling familiarity. "Yeah, like, ridiculously fast. I charge it fully, and it's dead by lunchtime if I'm using it even a little." He clicked on battery health. He muttered, tapping his finger on the screen. "Capacity's at 82%. That's not terrible for a phone this age, but it's not great either." Maya's jaw dropped slightly. "You know what battery capacity means?" Frank finally looked up, a flicker of amusement in his eyes. "I read a thing or two. Don't underestimate your old uncle." He tapped a few more options. "Look at this. Your screen time is averaging 6 hours a day. No wonder it's draining." 6 hours? Maya felt a flush creep up her neck. She hadn't realized it was that much. She justified it in her head, editing videos, researching artists, staying in touch with her friends. It was all work. Mostly. He pointed to a graph showing app usage. TikTok's eating up most of your power. And that game. Candy Blast Mania. Seriously. Hey. Maya protested, snatching the phone back. It's research. I need to know what's trending. She felt oddly exposed, like he'd peered into a part of her life she usually kept carefully guarded. And judged it. Frank held up his hands in mock surrender. Just saying, there are ways to optimize this. You can limit background app refresh, turn down the screen brightness, even close out apps you're not using. He paused, a thoughtful expression on his face. Tell you what. Let me borrow this for a day. I bet I can squeeze a few more hours out of it. The idea of handing over her phone, her lifeline, to Frank for an entire day filled her with a strange mix of dread and curiosity. Seriously, she asked, her voice laced with disbelief. Yeah, seriously. Consider it a challenge. His eyes twinkled, and for the first time, Maya saw a side of her uncle she'd never known existed, a tech geek in disguise, just waiting for the right gadget to tinker with. And she, apparently, had provided it. The photo album. The screen flickered, then solidified. A wave of relief washed over Frank. There. I think I got it. Just a corrupted file pathway, nothing a little digital elbow grease couldn't fix. He puffed out his chest, pleased with himself. See, Maya. Uncle Frank's still got it. Maya, perched on the edge of her desk chair, leaned forward. Let me see. She swiped through a few apps, confirming the initial glitch, the one that had been causing her phone to freeze randomly, was indeed gone. Okay, yeah, seems good. Thanks, Uncle Frank. Frank beamed, a little too enthusiastically. He hovered, watching her navigate. So what all do you keep on this thing, anyway? Besides whatever was making it all wonky. Maya rolled her eyes playfully, but a flicker of unease crossed her face. Just the usual. Apps, photos, music. Photos, huh? Frank's thumb, still hovering near the screen, twitched. He was genuinely curious. He hadn't seen many recent pictures of Maya. He missed seeing her, seeing what she was up to. In his eagerness, his thumb swiped left. The screen dissolved into a grid of thumbnails. Not the brightly lit selfies and group shots Maya usually posted. These were different. More artistic. Close-ups of flowers dripping with rain, candid shots of friends laughing, a blurry image of a moon hanging low in the sky, street art illuminated by neon. And then, more intimate portraits. Maya, silhouetted against a sunset, her hair a fiery halo. Maya, laughing, caught off guard, her eyes crinkling at the corners. Maya, staring directly into the camera, her expression unreadable, intense. Frank froze, his thumb hovering once more, paralyzed with a strange mix of fascination and guilt. He hadn't meant to spy. The images felt private, vulnerable, like glimpsing a hidden part of Maya he wasn't supposed to see. He realized, with a jolt, that this was clearly a hidden album. He tried to swipe back to undo his accidental intrusion, but his fingers fumbled on the touch screen. Maya stiffened. She had been casually scrolling through Instagram, but her peripheral vision had caught Frank's movement. The specific grid of images. Her breath hitched. Uncle Frank, she said, her voice tight, all trace of playful teasing gone. What are you looking at? Awkward exchange. Maya feigned interest in the dust motes dancing in the afternoon sun as Frank, perched precariously on the edge of her beanbag chair, scrolled through her phone. He'd been at it for a good 10 minutes, muttering about bloatware and these confounded apps. Her initial gratitude for his help had curdled into a prickly unease. She needed her phone. Badly. Liam was supposed to text about tonight's gig. So she said, her voice a touch too bright, any luck? Frank grunted, his attention glued to the screen. Almost. Just gotta, aha. He tapped something, then another thing. The phone remained stubbornly unresponsive. He sighed, a gust of air that ruffled the pages of the photo album she'd left open on the coffee table. These things are trickier than they look. He picked up the album, his brow furrowed in concentration, ostensibly still thinking about the phone, but his eyes were definitely on the glossy pages. Maya's stomach clenched. It was an older album, filled with snapshots from high school, and before a deliberately curated collection of memories, but still private. Nice pictures, he said, flipping a page. Thanks, Maya mumbled, inching closer to the beanbag, a subtle predator stalking its prey. Hey, maybe just give it back. I can try again later. He didn't seem to hear her. He'd stopped at a candid shot taken at last summer's beach party. Maya, her hair a windblown mess, was doubled over in laughter, her face flushed with sun and genuine joy. Liam had caught the moment perfectly. "Wow, look at you," Frank said, his voice softer now. "You've really blossomed." The word hung in the air, thick and heavy. Maya felt a blush creep up her neck. "It was just a funny joke," she said, trying to keep her tone light. He turned the album towards her, the photo now inches from her face. His eyes, usually crinkled in amusement, were strangely intent. "You look so grown up. I still think of you as that little girl who used to follow me around, asking a million questions." Maya shifted uncomfortably. The air in the small apartment felt suddenly close, stifling. She reached for her phone, her fingers brushing against his. He didn't relinquish it. "Frank," she said, her voice sharper this time. "I really need my phone." He blinked as if snapping out of a trance. Right. Sorry, Maya. Just, time flies, you know." He handed over the phone, his gaze lingering on her face a moment too long. "Anyway, still not sure what's wrong with it, but I'll keep trying." Tension rising. Maya usually loved the smell of Frank's aftershave. It was a familiar comfort, a reminder of family dinners and clumsy hugs. Now, however, the scent felt cloying, amplified in the small space between them as he held her phone. "Just trying to see what's hogging all the memory," Frank mumbled, his brow furrowed in concentration as he scrolled through her apps. Each swipe of his thumb felt like an intrusion, a violation of something sacred. "Frank, seriously," Maya said, her voice sharper than she intended. "Just give it back. I can figure it out." He didn't look up. "Almost got it. Seems like you have a ton of photos. Are you backing them up to the cloud?" The question, innocuous as it was, felt like a loaded gun. Photos of her art, of her friends, of stolen moments of joy and quiet contemplation, all laid bare in Frank's hands. She felt a flush creep up her neck. "Frank!" Maya snapped, reaching for the phone. "Give it back to me, please." He finally met her gaze, his blue eyes wide with surprise. "Hey, what's with you?" "I'm just trying to help." "I know, but..." Her voice trailed off, the anger deflating as quickly as it had risen, leaving behind a hollow ache of vulnerability. "It's just personal. It feels weird." Frank's grip loosened, and he handed the phone back. The metal felt cold against Maya's suddenly clammy palm. "Personal," he echoed, his voice laced with a hurt she hadn't anticipated. He ran a hand through his thinning hair, a gesture she recognized as a sign of discomfort. "I didn't realize." The air thickened, heavy with unspoken words and misunderstood intentions. Maya fiddled with the phone, avoiding Frank's gaze. The screen reflected her own anxious face, a stranger staring back. "I'm sorry," she mumbled, the words sounding weak and inadequate. "It's just, everything's on there, you know. It feels like you're looking through my diary." Frank didn't respond, and the silence stretched, punctuated only by the hum of the refrigerator in the background. The familiar kitchen, usually a haven of warmth and laughter, now felt like a battleground. The aroma of the apple pie cooling on the counter, meant as a welcoming treat, now seemed like a taunt. Maya knew she had hurt him, and the realization was a bitter taste in her mouth. Carol's interruption. The silence hung thick enough to choke on. Frank cleared his throat, his face flushed. "So you see, Maya, the cloud, it's like a big invisible filing cabinet in the sky." Maya bit back a retort about dinosaurs and dial-up internet. She just wanted to escape. The notification was still blinking on her phone, a taunting reminder of the accidental message. The kitchen door swung open, and Aunt Carol breezed in, her floral scarf trailing behind her like a vibrant flag. She took one look at their stiff postures and raised a perfectly sculpted eyebrow. "Well, what's this? Looks like someone declared war on the breakfast nook." Frank puffed out his chest, a bit too eagerly. "I was just helping Maya with her technology." Carol chuckled, a warm, melodic sound that usually soothed Maya, but today felt like another layer of discomfort. Frank? Helping with technology? Since when did you become a tech guru? Last I checked, you were still fighting with the self-checkout at Kroger. Frank's blush deepened. I'm learning. Keeping up with the times. Maya's showing me the ropes. He gave Maya a hopeful, almost pleading look. Carol winked at Maya. Oh honey, you've got your work cut out for you. He still thinks emojis are hieroglyphics. She playfully punched Frank on the arm. Don't worry, Frankie, you'll get there. Eventually. Maya forced a smile. The playful banter, usually comforting, now felt like a spotlight on her awkward situation. She wanted to disappear into the patterned wallpaper. The shared joke only amplified the chasm between them, highlighting the age difference and the assumptions that came with it. Actually, Aunt Carol, Maya said, trying to steer the conversation, I was just about to head out. Got a study group meeting. A blatant lie, but the words tumbled out before she could stop them. Carol's brow furrowed slightly, the amusement fading from her eyes. She seemed to sense the underlying tension. Oh? Well, don't let us keep you. Study hard, sweetie. Her voice was softer now, laced with a hint of concern. Maya grabbed her phone, shoving it into her pocket. The screen flashed again, the unwanted message a silent accusation. Yeah, will do. See you later, Uncle Frank. She practically bolted from the room, leaving the scent of Aunt Carol's perfume, and the lingering awkwardness hanging in the air. An apology and understanding. The scent of cinnamon and pine needles hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the forced cheer Maya couldn't quite embrace. She navigated the crowded living room, a maze of chattering relatives and clinking glasses, carefully avoiding Frank. Each time she caught a glimpse of his familiar, slightly stooped figure, she veered in the opposite direction, a subtle but deliberate act of avoidance. The glow of the Christmas tree lights seemed to mock her, highlighting the festive atmosphere she felt increasingly alienated from. Later she slipped onto the porch, seeking refuge in the crisp night air. The silence was a welcome balm after the relentless chatter inside. She leaned against the railing, gazing at the star-dusted sky, the cold seeping into her thin sweater. Maya. Frank's voice was hesitant, a stark contrast to his usual boisterous tone. She didn't turn. Hey, Uncle Frank. He shuffled closer, the wooden planks of the porch creaking under his weight. Can I talk to you for a minute? She sighed, finally turning to face him. His face was etched with concern, the holiday cheer absent from his eyes. Look, Maya, he began, his voice low, I'm really sorry. About the phone thing. I messed up. Maya crossed her arms, bracing herself. You think? No, I know, he insisted. I wasn't trying to snoop. Or anything like that. I wanted to understand. You. Your world. This whole phone thing. I see you kids always on them, doing whatever it is you do. And I just felt disconnected. He looked down at his hands, calloused and worn, a stark contrast to the sleek, smooth surface of Maya's phone. I feel like I'm losing you, losing all of you. Like I'm becoming some relic. His words hung in the air, heavy with a vulnerability Maya hadn't expected. She saw a flicker of something she hadn't noticed before, a deep-seated loneliness, a quiet desperation to remain relevant. The anger that had been simmering inside her began to dissipate, replaced by a strange sense of empathy. He wasn't trying to invade her privacy, he was trying to bridge a gap, a chasm that had widened with each passing year and technological advancement. I know I overstepped, he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. And I'm truly sorry. I want to be part of your life, Maya. Even if I don't understand TikTok or whatever it is you're always watching. A weak smile flickered across his face. Maya's defenses crumbled. She understood now. He wasn't trying to control her, he was trying to connect. It's okay, Uncle Frank, she said softly, the words feeling foreign and clumsy on her tongue. I get it. He looked up, his eyes searching hers. You do? Maya nodded. Yeah. I do. She paused, then added, maybe I can show you sometime. Some of the apps, I mean. If you really want to know. A genuine smile spread across his face, lighting up his eyes. I'd like that very much, Maya. Thank you. Bridging the gap. The silence in Maya's room pulsed with anxieties neither dared voice. Frank, a gentle behemoth, perched precariously on her beanbag, looking utterly adrift. Even the usually cheerful floral wallpaper seemed to mock their disconnect. So he began, his tone booming slightly in the enclosed space, you think I'm clueless. Maya worried the edge of her sketchbook into a threadbare fringe. Not clueless. Just, we often seem to miss each other's signals. Frank exhaled, a deflated sigh escaping his lips. I'm trying, kiddo. I honestly am. Things just morph so fast. I think I've grasped something and bam. It's vaporized. He nodded toward her phone, inert on the desk. This privacy thing, though, I just can't wrap my head around it. What's the fuss if they know you like cute cats and that K-pop music? Maya's shoulders stiffened. It's more than just interests, Uncle Frank. It's about agency. It's about controlling access to my data and preventing its misuse. It's about escaping constant surveillance. She paused, inhaling deeply, then exhaled. It feels invasive, okay. Like existing in a fishbowl. He leaned in, brows knitting together. But why would anyone bother watching you? She hesitated, suddenly exposed. It's not about me, not personally. It's about the principle of mass surveillance. Frank ruminated, stroking his chin thoughtfully. All right, he conceded. I'll make an effort to understand. Show me something. Something you actually enjoy using. Maya's face lit up, relief washing over her. Okay. Let's start with Procreate. She snatched up her iPad, the screen blooming with a vibrant image of a mythical beast. It's for creating digital art. I can walk you through the basics, the brushes, layers. For the next hour, Maya became his patient guru, guiding Frank through the app's intricacies. She explained blending techniques, texture creation, and the satisfying power of the undo button. His thick fingers stumbled initially, struggling to navigate the touch screen, but gradually, haltingly, he found his footing. He produced a lopsided, cartoonish apple, prompting a shared eruption of laughter. All right, Frank chuckled, wiping sweat from his forehead. Maybe I won't be hanging in a gallery anytime soon, but I get the appeal. It's soothing. She then introduced him to Duolingo, her go-to language app. They stumbled through basic Spanish phrases, playfully mocking each other's mangled pronunciations. Frank even nailed "Donde está la biblioteca," earning him an enthusiastic high five. See? Maya beamed. Not quite a lost cause. And you're not quite the enigma I imagined, Frank countered, a broad smile illuminating his features. Perhaps this technology isn't so terrible after all. Especially when it offers a chance to connect with my favorite niece. The oppressive tension in the room dissolved, replaced by a comfortable warmth. The chasm between them began to shrink with each shared chuckle and clumsy attempt at digital artistry. The floral wallpaper no longer seemed a barrier, but a cheerful testament to their burgeoning connection.